Today is March 2nd. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It's a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today at the Big Book, we are on Chapter 4, We Agnostics. We'll be reading page 49. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 7. We'll be reading page 72. And of course, we'll read the 24 hours a day and daily reflection. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this morning, my friends. It's Monday. It's a beginning of a brand new week. But the nice thing is, all we got to worry about is today and focus on this set of 24 hours. And the fact that I woke up sober this morning, that's a pretty darn good start. Really grateful for my higher power for that. But with that, let's get to the good stuff. All right, my friends. So if you recall from yesterday's reading in the Big Book, in We Agnostics, we have been talking about certain prejudices we may have had. And yesterday, the last paragraph we read, it says, everybody nowadays believes in scores of assumptions for which there's good evidence, but no perfect visual proof. And now we're going to get some illustrations of that. So we're on the bottom of 48 and we'll read 49. The prosaic steel girder is a mass of electrons whirling around each other at incredible speed. These tiny bodies are governed by precise laws, and these laws hold true throughout the material world. Science tells us so. We have no reason to doubt it. When, however, the perfectly logical assumption is suggested that underneath the material world and life as we see it, there is an all-powerful, guiding, creative intelligence, right there, our perverse streak comes to the surface, and we laboriously set out to convince ourselves it isn't so. We read wordy books and indulge in windy arguments, thinking we believe this universe needs no God to explain it. Were our contentions true, it would follow that life originated out of nothing, means nothing, and proceeds nowhere. Instead of regarding ourselves as intelligent agents, spearheads of God's ever-advancing creation, we agnostics and atheists chose to believe that our human intelligence was the last word, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and end of it all. Rather vain of us, wasn't it? We who have traveled this dubious path beg you to lay aside prejudice, even against organized religion. We have learned that whatever the human frailties of various faiths may be, those faiths have given purpose and direction to millions. People of faith have a logical idea of what life is all about. Actually, we used to have no reasonable conception whatever. We used to amuse ourselves by cynically dissecting spiritual beliefs and practices, when we might have observed that many spiritually minded persons of all races, colors, and creeds were demonstrating a degree of stability, happiness, and usefulness which we should have sought ourselves. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 7. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. And yesterday on page 71, we were talking about humility a little bit, or, my lack of it sometimes. It says here, we had lacked the perspective to see that character building and spiritual values had to come first, and that material satisfactions were not the purpose of living. So we are going to continue that thought. We're on the bottom of 71 and we'll read 72 today. True, most of us thought good character was desirable, but obviously good character was something one needed to get on with, the business of being self-satisfied. With a proper display of honesty and morality, we'd stand a better chance of getting what we really wanted. But whenever we had to choose between character and comfort, the character building was lost in the dust of our chase after what we thought was happiness. Seldom did we look at character building as something desirable in itself, something we would like to strive for whether our instinctual needs were met or not. We never thought of making honesty, tolerance, and true love of man and God the daily basis of living. This lack of anchorage to any permanent values, this blindness to the true purpose of our lives, produced another bad result. For just so long as we were convinced that we could live exclusively by our own individual strength and intelligence, for just that long was a working faith in a higher power impossible. This was true even when we believed that God existed. We could actually have earnest religious beliefs which remained barren because we were still trying to play God ourselves. As long as we placed self-reliance first, a genuine reliance upon a higher power was out of the question. That basic ingredient of all humility, a desire to seek and do God's will, was missing. For us, the process of gaining a new perspective was unbelievably painful. It was only by repeated humiliations that we were forced to learn something about humility. It was only at the end of a long road, marked by successive defeats and humiliations, and the final crushing of our self-sufficiency, that we began to feel humility as something more than a condition of groveling despair. Every newcomer in Alcoholics Anonymous is told, and soon realizes for himself, that his humble admission of powerlessness over alcohol is his first step toward liberation from its paralyzing grip. "24 hours a day, March 2nd. AA Thought for the Day. Over a period of drinking years, we proved to ourselves and everybody else that we can't stop drinking by our own willpower. We have been proved helpless before the power of alcohol. So the only way we could stop drinking was by turning to a power greater than ourselves. We call that power God. The time that you really get this program is when you get down on your knees and surrender yourself to God as you understand Him. Surrender means putting your life into God's hands. Have I made a promise to God that I will try to live the way He wants me to live? Meditation for the day. Spirit power comes from communication with God in prayer and times of quiet meditation. I must constantly seek spirit communication with God. This is a matter directly between me and God. Those who seek it through the medium of the church do not always get the joy and wonder of spirit communication with God. From this communication comes life, joy, peace, and healing. Many people do not realize the power that can come to them from direct spirit communication. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may feel God's power in mine. I pray that I may be able to face anything through that power. Daily Reflection, March 2nd. Hope. Do not be discouraged. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 60. Few experiences are of less value to me than fast sobriety. Too many times discouragement has been the bonus for unrealistic expectations, not to mention self-pity or fatigue from my wanting to change the world by the weekend. Discouragement is a warning signal that I may have wandered across the God line. The secret of fulfilling my potential is in acknowledging my limitations and believing that time is a gift, not a threat. Hope is the key that unlocks the door of discouragement. The program promises me that if I do not pick up that first drink today, I will always have hope. Having come to believe that I keep what I share, every time I encourage, I receive courage. It is with others that, with the grace of God and the fellowship of AA, I trudge the road of happy destiny. May I always remember that the power within me is far greater than any fear before me. May I always have patience, for I am on the right road. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading and some beautiful stuff. I know we're already past the 10-minute mark, so I'll try to make this as quick as I can. Famous last words, right? But first of all, I love that the big book starts talking about the prejudices towards religious folks. If I'm really being honest with myself, I used that as an excuse to not go to church or to not have faith in God and everything, because I would look at certain people and I would say, oh, see, look, they're just a bunch of hypocrites, or they're all crazy, whatever it was. But I would lump everybody that had faith into one category. They're just a bunch of hypocrites and I want nothing to do with it. But really deep down, here's how I was really feeling. I don't quite understand this faith thing. It kind of scares me a little bit. I don't want anything to do with it. That was the root cause right there. And it might require me to change a little bit. And at that time, growing up, I didn't want to change certain things. I didn't want to give up certain things. And clearly alcohol was at the top of the list. But when I would put all those folks in that one bucket, right, I was completely negating the fact that there are a lot of good people of faith. They're just people trying to do the right thing. I think of my grandmother, man. She was one of the most devout Catholics I'd ever met. And my family name was Bobby, right? Growing up, and she'd go, Bobby, one of these days, I just know it. You're gonna be a priest one day. I just know it. And she'd say that on the phone, and I just kind of roll my eyes, and I wanted nothing to do with this faith stuff. And I was little, but she was one of the kindest people I've ever met. And throughout the years, I'd meet other folks like that seemed genuine, very genuine. So it was really unfair of me to say that everybody, and I would think, oh, they're all just, narrow-minded hypocrites. That was my scapegoat, right? But here I was being narrow-minded toward them, and I was definitely a hypocrite, that's for sure. Oh my gosh, being an alcoholic and lying about everything, and I don't miss those days. But I also love what the Daily Reflection said real quick, that pretty much in a nutshell, you can't keep unless you give it away. By helping others, somehow I'm helped. Which is what the big book talks about a lot. When Bill would help others, even though they might not get sober or stay sober, somehow he was staying sober. And, anytime I do service work, including this, it's helping me. It helps bolster my faith to be reminded of these things and forcing myself to read through these things every day. When sometimes that little negative voice in my head goes, Rob, you don't need to read that stuff today. You don't need to go to the meeting. You're tired, Or, oh, you got this, Rob. Don't worry about it. It's still in there. But anyway, doing this show has helped me tremendously because it's forced me to read these books and be reminded every day of the problem I have, but also the solution I have. And what a beautiful solution it's been. Speaking of which, if you are sober today, my friend, you're a miracle. And I'm sure that those who love you are very proud of you, and you're giving a great gift to everyone around you. You have a unique superpower to help the next suffering alcoholic. And that's an amazing thing. We've been given a second chance. But I don't think it was by chance. This is Robology, but I think we're here for a reason. And if you're not sober, I think you're here for a reason as well. I'd love to encourage you to just get the help that you need today, because you're a miracle as well, and you have worth and value. And your story's not done yet. Today could be the beginning of your brand new chapter. And you don't have to do it alone. This is a we program. Get the help that you need. There's some great apps out there. The Everything AA app, I always talk that one up because you can mark your sobriety. It's got the big book, 12 and 12's on there for free, a bunch of other literature. They have Zoom links for meetings all around the world. I mean, you could hop on a meeting right now as you're listening to this, anywhere around the world, and start getting the help that you need. And for me, I'm a slow learner. I had to learn as I go. But it's kind of neat. At first, I had that tunnel vision, right? But then the more I went to the fellowships and eventually worked the steps, that tunnel vision expands and I start to see the world for how truly beautiful it can actually be. And I thought sobriety was just not drinking. But my friends, as always, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect. I am just a drunk, honored to be here. And if we're given another set of 24 hours, my friends, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.